Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone, people here in the audience and people out in TV land, to the Lincolnville Selectmen's meeting, November 13th, 2018. Before we get going, John, would you like to read the quote?
If you can keep your wits about you while all others are losing theirs and blaming you, the world will be yours and everything in it. What's more, you'll be a man, my son. Rudyard Kipling.
I love it. This is just great. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a short agenda for the evening. The first item on the agenda is the Citizens Forum. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to talk to the selectmen about anything, please come to the podium, identify yourself, and state your piece. With that being said, it doesn't appear there's anybody that wants to come to the podium. So next on the agenda, we'll go to the administrator's report.
I'd just like to extend thanks to all the election clerks and all the staff here for the election day events, as well as the citizenry. We had a greater than 72% turnout, and which rivaled some past presidential elections, so that's pretty
Fantastic.
good. There were some times, particularly very first thing in the morning, where there were some lines to get in and lines to get out, but worked through it. And appreciate everybody's patience. We didn't have any mechanical or physical difficulties. The machine can only take ballots so quickly, and so that was that. Particularly beyond people that helped on election day, I'd like to make sure everybody recognizes the staff that worked behind the scenes with the absentee voting. I think I don't know if we set a record for that, but it was a busy time processing absentees. And otherwise than that, Hagar Enterprises was here last week and did the shoulder work on North Cobbtown Road and then Broadus and Heather Hill Roads. We still have some, I would call, backing up or tapering to do on North Cobbtown in some areas, just to make them a little more gentler side slope. But in between the paved surface and the shoulder, people have plenty of room, I believe, to travel. Certainly no different than some of our other locations here in town. And we also were greeted last week with the presence of our auditors, and came and did their field work here. They take that back to their office, do their thing, and then come back and fill in some blanks, but that was a little time consuming, I would say, for some staff. Otherwise than that, we've got the requests out to real estate agents for listing or potentially listing the Morton Road property. You should have that on your agenda next meeting, and a few other loose ends for next meeting, but I guess that's it.
Thank you, David. One question that I did have on the election, and you may not have this, but it would just be interesting to know how many absentee votes there were, and how many new registered voters. How many did we register?
We registered 41 people on election day. We had a number of people that came in and wanted to change, like, their physical address or their last name because they got married or something like that, but we had 41 new people. Absentees, we processed 367 on the Saturday before elections, and round numbers, I think we had about 60 additional come in after Saturday and before 8 p.m. So wow. A little over 400.
Wow.
It was busy.
One thing that I would like to just mention is there's a guy that I saw at the polls, shook his hand and had a hearty conversation with him. His name is Joe Bailey. He's the guy that in all of our parades always used to drive the old restored Farmall tractor from down here on the corner. And I just wanted to mention to the townspeople, if you haven't already heard that he passed away that night. So that was, yeah. and it was quite something, so he'll be sadly missed throughout the town. So thought I would bring that up. Thank you, David. The next, does anybody else have anything else to add to that? Nothing? Okay, next item on the agenda, meetings and announcements.
All meetings are here at the town office unless announced otherwise. The planning board meets Wednesday, November 14th, 7 p.m. Recreation Commission scheduled to meet Monday, November 19th, 6 p.m. Meeting that is not on your agenda that just got scheduled today, or I just got notice of it today, is the Harbor Committee, scheduled to meet Tuesday, the 20th at 6 p.m. The town office will be closed on Thursday, November 22nd, and Friday, November 23rd, in observance of Thanksgiving. And the Board of Selectmen will meet next on Monday, November 26th, 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda, upcoming community events. Has anybody got anything to announce? David, nothing? Okay, we'll move along. Item number 5, meeting minutes from October 22nd.
I move that the board approve the October 22nd, 2018 meeting minutes as presented.
Second?
If I might, motion to approve the minutes, it's been seconded. Any conversation? The only thing that I found, and I don't know if anybody else found that, on line 113, Camden, Hope, Northport, and I think that should be Searsmont instead of Searsport.
Yep.
Other than that, with that amendment, I would be good with it.
Move that amendment.
Move to make the change for.
Make the change in.
Okay, do I have a second to the amendment?
John seconded.
Okay. Any discussion on the seconded part of the amendment? No?
Good eye.
Okay. All those in favor? Motion passed. Item number 6 on the agenda, the Inland Waterway Mooring Committee appointments. As it looks, there's a name that should replace an originally submitted name. Leslie DeVoe needs to be taken out of there, and Andrea Police is the member from the Rec Commission that needs to go in there.
And doesn't Andrea being on the board then also fulfill the non-abutting, you know, just somebody who's not abutting the inland waterway?
Who?
Andrea, because she's across the street from Norton Pond. Well, unless the water, no, yeah, she's still back from the.
Well, David, with that question, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Jay Foster the representative that's an interested party and not necessarily an abutting, a property owner on the lake, or is
Yeah,
he?
I mean, he two people from the Land Use Committee desired to serve or offered to serve, Dorothy Havey and Jay Foster. I think Jay politely said, Dorothy, you can be the Land Use Committee rep, and I'll apply under the person with the boating interest or public with the boating
okay.
interest. And yeah.
All right. I was throwing that out.
So that would make 2 land use committee
Yep.
representatives, though?
Well,
really?
one not with a land use hat on, although he certainly had experience with drafting ordinances and doing research and the like committee work. So.
As far as coming down to doing proper ordinance or whatever it is we're gonna come up with there, I feel it would be beneficial to have him in there. I don't know what, the rest of you, feel on that. But I guess first we would need a motion.
I move to appoint Lise McLaughlin Pike, Richard Sanderson, Andrea Police, Dorothy Havey, and Jay Foster to the Inland Waterway Mooring Committee.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion has been seconded. We have some discussion on this. Is everybody, clear with that? Is everybody good?
Looks good to me.
Looks good? Okay, so we can get started on that.
Yeah, and just for the benefit of the folks at home, you do have up to 4 more reps from the other communities, and I think it's just been a timing issue in terms of
Right.
we notified them, they get it on an agenda, they say, yeah, we're interested, who wants to do it? Let's see if we can find somebody, so.
And you heard from all of the towns except for Searsmont?
Yeah, they just,
On receipt?
yeah, they acknowledged the receipt and said, we'll get it on the next agenda or something similar, so.
Yeah.
Nobody said we're not interested, at least as yet.
And if so interested, we can appoint these at a future.
Yeah.
Anybody at a future. Okay, the motion has been seconded. If there's no more discussion, all those in favor? Motion passed. Next item on the agenda, discuss switching the ATM card, the town ATM card to a credit card.
Yeah, for a number of years, we've had a ATM card linked to our checking account, and prior to that, we didn't have any type of access to electronic funds. Suggestion was made that we switch that, we discontinue the ATM and switch it to a credit card so that we actually didn't expend money before the board approved it. We could still use the credit card. We'd put the credit card bill on the warrant. If you didn't approve it, then we'd have to somehow backtrack. But it also provides some protections to us, so we're not, running around with an ATM that's directly linked to a town's checking account that has a lot of money at times.
Sure.
But before we do banking things like this, we'd like to make sure that everybody's on board and aware.
So a credit card is actually gonna isolate the purchases or access to any of the town funds, right? There'll just be a
Yeah,
maximum amount.
yeah, it wouldn't be linked to any
Correct.
particular account. It would just come.
Yeah, like a line
Back
of
to-
credit type.
Yeah, I mean, we don't use the credit or the ATM card frequently. It's more, we use it for register for classes, and occasionally we buy stuff online that you can't buy any other way.
Yeah.
I did have, how many are using the card that you have right now? Or how many would be using the one coming? Two
Well-
people?
Well,
maybe?
we have one ATM card currently that's issued in the town's name, and it has the finance director's name on it too, and she's the kind of the keeper of the card, so to speak. If anybody wants to buy anything, we go see the finance director, and she puts us through our paces, and then I say, it doesn't matter how many paces you put me through, give me the card.
Yeah.
It's not quite that bad, but
Okay. Okay, if there's no more forthcoming information on that, I guess we would need a motion to move this forward.
I move that the board authorize the treasurer to apply for a single town credit card through the First, the town's bank, and once approved, that the debit card be discontinued and that the treasurer and the finance director prepare for our review and approval a credit card use policy.
Second.
Motion has been seconded. Is there any further discussion on what it would be used for, why we need it, why the town needs it?
Makes
Okay.
perfect sense.
That makes sense.
There's no other discussion. If we could have a vote, all those in favor? Once again, the motion is passed. And will that come at next month's meeting,
That will come
next
as soon as the finance director drafts it and I review it.
Okay.
Yep, it'll be here.
Yep, okay, yep. Okay, item number 8 on our agenda, set meeting date with the Owlsboro, whoop.
No, go ahead. I want to be recognized to tell you when you're ready.
Okay, yeah, set meeting date with the Owlsboro Board of Selectmen. David?
Although I previously reached out to everyone telling you that the Owlsboro Board had hoped to meet on the 6th, I got a call today from the board chair who asked if the board would consider moving that to the 12th of December, which is
That would work
Wait.
better for me.
which I think is a Wednesday, but hang on a minute, I'll look.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday. That works fine for me too.
And then consult the Oracle.
So this, December 12th.
December 12th. It's a Wednesday.
What time?
Same 2 o'clock boat over and
Oh,
4:30 boat back, so we get back in town about 5.
That works for me.
As of right now, I don't know of any conflicts that I have. I do have just, before we give a yay or nay to the 12th, we always go there. Why can't they come here?
They could, if we wanted to, at some point, extend that invitation to them, I'm sure. Maybe we could talk about it at that meeting.
Okay. It's just a question.
We like to go on a boat ride, I guess.
I have no problem going over there, but it's their relationship as well as ours.
Yep.
With them, so I'm just asking. Okay, so if everybody is good with the 12th, maybe we'll try to pursue that, David, and see if that's there.
Yep. I think that'll work for them
As
since they call.
we get closer, we'll,
On the same, vaguely related to that, the reason Arch Gillies called me, the chair of the Owlsboro Board, in addition to trying to switch the date, their Maine Department of Transportation of the Maine State Ferry Service is going to be holding a rulemaking public hearing on the 28th of November at noon at the Hutchinson Center. If you recall, this summer they went through quite a rub with the ferry rate changes. Owlsboro, in essence, filed suit claiming that the state didn't follow the right procedures in order to enact the new tariffs or rates or fees. The judge agreed, told the DOT or ferry service to go back, not back to the drawing board, but to go through this process instead of that process. Arch did say that they would like, if possible, to have somebody from Lincolnville attend that, since we wrote a letter in support of Owlsboro. I told him that he was too late for this agenda, but I'd put it on the 26th agenda, but I just want to put that in your thinking caps in case somebody really feels compelled to go.
and that meeting is the 28th of this month?
That meeting will be the 28th. It starts at noon. It's at the Hutchinson Center.
That's a Wednesday, right?
It's a Wednesday, yeah.
I can be there.
Okay, so we have at least one selectman that can be there.
We can put, I put it on the draft agenda for next meeting too, just so that people could get their thoughts in mind for that.
Okay, that would be good. Hopefully we'll all be available we'll all be at the next meeting so that we can
Yep.
talk about, probably expectation and concerns that we might have in regards to the ferry and the rates and
Yeah.
and how we support the town of Owlsboro.
We certainly could, we can dig out the letter that Laidley wrote.
Yeah.
Laidley signed,
Yep,
that we wrote to DOT too.
that would be good. Okay, if we're all done with that, next item on the agenda, we have a treasurer and payrolls warrant to approve and sign. We also have the Coombs Griffin. So I would need a motion on that.
I move that the board approve the treasurer's and payroll warrants and the Coons Griffin warrants.
Okay,
Second.
motion is seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Motion's passed. Okay, so we'll need, the next item is to, go into executive session. We'll need a motion to do that.
I move that the Board of Selectmen enter into an executive session for purpose of discussion of consideration of the acquisition of real property pursuant to Title I MRSA Section 4056C.
Second.
Okay, motion has been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? We will go into executive session.